became a daily in 1871. This building in which you're in was built in three parts. The oldest part being the classified section over there, which was established in 1895. The addition we're standing in here right now was built in 1951, and the press room area in 1970. The marble you see on the walls here came from Italy. The mine is still open today. The publisher of the Expositor is Bill Finley, and he's been here for a few years, and he's in charge of making sure that this newspaper runs, and gets out this paper every day. We'll take you to the classified department next, and we'll show you, as we go through the paper, how it is put together and when it gets ready for printing. Brenda Baldwin is our classified supervisor, and she will explain what goes on in this department.
Hi. Okay, as you can see, this room is made up of 5 employees at this time. Normally, on a busy day, we'd have the full staff of 7 to 8 employees. The most important thing in this room, you may guess, is a computer, which is not the case. The most important thing we use here is the telephone. The classified department is also known as the phone room. The bulk of the business we do is over the phone. We also have customers who come into the counter, but most of it is done over the phone. That time is spread out over 12 and a half hours a day. We're here from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8:30 at night, Monday to Friday, and we're open again Sunday nights. In an average day, we would answer about 300 phone calls. Not all of those are new ads. We have new ads, we have cancellations, changes to ads, and we have just people calling to ask information about deadlines and prices and whatnot. So some days it can get pretty hectic when an average day is 300. A lot of times even higher than that, as well as having people come. Our births and deaths are in here, and all the way through the very last page would be houses for sale. And then from here, this goes upstairs, and they lay it out in the order that the classified pages go.
Hi, this is the newsroom. We've got about 25 people working in the news department here: photographers, reporters, editors, librarian, receptionist. And every day it's their job to go out and find the best news stories they can to put in the Expositor the next day. In the center of the room over here, we've got the desks where the editors put the paper together every day. And most of them work at night. And they decide what stories are going to go on the paper, what pages they're going to go on. They write the headlines, they pick the pictures, and they edit the stories to make sure that the stories are accurate and complete. And then around the outside of the room is the desks where all the reporters sit, and the reporters are divided up into different groups. We have a lifestyles department, a sports department, and the city news department. And the reporters just every day have various assignments to go out on and meetings to cover and people to interview, and they go out and they do their jobs, and then they come back here at the end of the day and write their stories up. We also have down the stairs a photography department, and we have 3 staff photographers who are responsible for all of the local pictures that are in the paper. And we also get pictures from Canadian Press, which is a national news service. And they supply us with a couple of hundred pictures a day. So that's about the size of it in the newsroom. Wait for a second. The stories coming into the newsroom from Canadian Press, and they come over a telephone line from Toronto, from the Canadian Press office in Toronto, into these computers, and then from these computers they end up over in these computers over here. Editors can call them up on the screen and edit them, and then they lay out the pages on these large computers here and write the headlines for the stories, and leave spaces for the pictures, and put the reporter's name on the story if necessary, and generally do the job of laying out the paper. And from here, they send the pages to a full-size printer, which prints the complete newspaper page on one sheet of paper.
I'm here to tell you about it.
Hi. This is the advertising department. This area here is what we call our department. Last year went from one big room with 12 reps, a support staff, co-op, artist department, etc. And what we've done is gone to customer service teams. So we have 3 teams, and we're going to go through and show you the teams. The teams consist of an artist, compositors who actually do the typesetting and the making of the ads, and 4 sales representatives. So we'll go this way, and then we'll wind through and show you the 3 customer service teams, how they operate. We'll show you the Mac operators, how they put ads together, and we'll show you how they put a color ad together with color separations. We'll end up back out here and explain a bit more about how as you see, we get comes in as a finished product. Like this, okay. And this is actually what we call a national ad. Okay, so it needs to have an order. Alrighty. So this is running on May the 12th next week. So this is how we do our lineup, which eventually you'll see goes to our customer service, that the compositors will actually be setting. Okay, this is a basic layout, and this will all be typeset. This will all be done on the computer, and looks like this will end up being a color ad, and again it's to run on the 12th. I'm sorry, the 10th. So the salespeople go out and they make the call to like Northway. They come back, they might have the artist help them with the ad, and then it will go to the composite, a layout here, and as he's setting the type for it. Jack, how many ads that size could you do in an 8-hour shift?
Probably depending on what's involved in it, probably do 2 or 3 an hour, depending on how difficult it is. Something like this is usually about 15 minutes.
Okay.
It's one of those most people.
This is the Holmes tabloid, which runs every Friday. This was introduced last May. And that's what he's doing on your screen right now. Parsons agreed to buy the back page of this for 52 times, or every week for a year. And the account is looked after by a sales rep who is in this customer service team. So Jack actually does this ad every week. And because we've gone to an integrated system with the color, it's now produced like this. So every week the color photographs are scanned in over here, and then they're integrated back through the Mac system so that the advertising portion can be done. And also, as part of that, if it's here, is done the thinner spread in color. This is all the color work is now done on computer. So this is a blue sheet here. This is the actual one that you will see come out in tomorrow's paper. This one will be shipped tonight and printed and will appear in tomorrow's paper. Is this the center?
It's this week's.
This is the one that will actually be in tomorrow's paper, in the center of the Holmes. This runs every Wednesday, and it runs in full color. Okay, much like you saw the home tab, where that was an advertising and a front. This is just an editorial feature. But again, it's something that we do every Wednesday. It always has a full color picture with recipes. And it is designed every week by Louis DiStefano, who does the layout and design. And then it goes to our Photoshop studio, where they actually do the color stuff.
Is this on the editorial page? What I get it from one of our fashion features editors. Photographs that I can use, the length of the story, and the heading. So what I do is sometimes I'll do a rough thumbnail, a sketch, give me an idea how I'm going to start the page, how I'm going to design it. So then I will start putting together using the photographs and my headings, come up with a heading, design of a heading, and I use that in a different program. I'll use that in the Electro Studio program where I can change the shapes of the letters and design a more fun looking or funkier looking type of heading instead of just very just something like that. Then once I've worked out all the design problems, here I leave enough space for the copy and all that stuff. I work with the major heads, the subheads, photographs. See, the pictures here in this case were both the same size, so I reduced one, and then in the background I do a graduated screen, so it gives it just a different look. And then from that point on, I close this off, and that goes into Photoshop over here. And that's where one of the technicians, Ted, will get the picture. He gets my page, opens up my page, the one I just showed you. He drops a photograph in, does the separations. Gets this photograph here, reduces the size of the head, he does the separations. And then from there, it's sent in negative form. He's got it in 3 primary colors, yellow. So what they do in the color photograph is that they have to separate the colors from this photograph. So what they do is they break it down into 3 colors. So first they'll put, let's say this is they're printing this now. They'll put on the yellow color, and then they'll print the blue color, and then the paper will go through the press again, and they'll print on the red color, and that's how you get that full color effect. So sometimes you see in the paper, or that's how you print your photographs when you go to Photoshop.
And all of our photos, whether we scan in from, this is film negative, 35 millimeter film negative, we can scan in through a scanner here. We can take, okay, we take our color photos, such as this, all in the original form. There's several of them there. These are going into a home and garden section for next Tuesday. These all get scanned in on a flatbed scanner such as this. Whereas we take the photo, place it down on the paper and on the glass, and it's tied into the computer, and the computer program actually digitizes that into information, so that a picture. Let me see if I can bring one up here and show you. There's one here that was scanned in before. Here's a lady who was scanned in.
How long does it take to scan a picture?
Black and white can be scanned in just a couple of minutes, but you take a complex photo, such as this one here, or any of these things here. When you're scanning in from a print, it might take 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, depends on the size of the print, what kind of a resolution you're asking, whether you want the computer to actually break the picture up into 150 dots for every inch that it scans, or 300 dots. Obviously, the higher resolution you go, if you say scan this thing in a 600 DPI, which stands for dots per inch, then it takes every inch of film or paper, and it assigns 600 lines, and it reads those information, and it's very high resolution. Sometimes you need the high resolution, sometimes you don't. This being a large photo, probably can be scanned in at 150 dots per inch, because the final form will probably be the same size, and that will be enough resolution to print on the newspaper. When you get into 35 millimeter negative film, of course that's just a piece of it, but you all know what 35 millimeter negative film looks like. When we scan that in through this device here, it scans in at over 2,000 dots per inch. And the reason is you need that high resolution in that small area, because these small pictures will be blown up larger in the paper. So you need that high resolution, otherwise you lose a lot of the information. And in on the scanner, digitize as you see there, and then through a series of other programs, primarily a program called Photoshop, which is this photo here. There's the symbol for it. It's Adobe Photoshop. That's our main color manipulation program. And that program allows someone to go in here, and you see how dark some of these shadow areas, well, they might want to make that a little bit brighter, or say the reds in these flowers are not red enough. You can actually go in there and say, make it redder. You could get into it. It's a very powerful program, and we don't use it anywhere near to the extent of its capabilities. You could actually have a photo there and say you wanted to scan in your own picture, and if you got blue eyes, you might want to see what you look like in brown eyes. You can actually change your eyes to brown, or you can take the head off of your body and put it on somebody else's body. You can actually do all that stuff. On tomorrow's paper, and every Friday we run this home section. Here's one that's coming together like pieces of a puzzle. You can see that there's pieces here that still have to go. This one here has a large area that's open. And just as these ads are created, finished, corrected, and whatever, they come in. And we have layouts up here that guide our compositors as to how to lay these. Approximately 4:30 this morning. And this is our finished pages. And you can see just a matter of pieces all put together, coming from the various areas that actually form the page. This here would be a photo that came from our studio area. The type came from the editorial department. The ads came from one of our customer service teams. And this department in here, the compose room, we have to convert them into a full page size negative. And that is done through a large camera that we have. We take the pages. The pages are actually placed somewhat in this fashion, and I won't turn the lights on. The lights will blind you, well, but the camera then shoots the page, and what our result is a full portions up here are what we call the image setters. And what they actually do is that they're laser driven. There's a laser beam in there that actually takes photosensitive film and exposes it. So this little laser beam goes back and forth across the film. This is what the film looks like. This is no good now. But the laser beam actually puts that image across there to a resolution of 1016 dots per inch. And after it exposes the film goes to a transport system into a film processor, where the film comes out looking like this. See, so there's an ad that will be cut up and will be pasted onto one of those grid sheets. Here's a news page that has come out. This is for Friday's paper tomorrow. And as you can see here, there's a lot of white space here. These are designations where the ads will go. So this page will go back into the composing room. The fellow in there working will cut it up and lay it on a grid sheet, and then as the ads come in, he'll place the ads to complete the page. They're on the network. You see this black wire coming across up here. All the computers are tied into this network in the building. And it's a rather crude way of looking at it right now, but anyhow, a page like this coming through on the network will probably be received in about 15 seconds. And it will probably take the laser beam in here, I would say about 30 seconds to expose this film. And you take those 15 seconds to 30 seconds, it takes about 5 seconds to transport it, and about 2.5 minutes here. So you're looking at about 4 to 5 minutes from the time somebody out in the newsroom sends us from their computer till the time it drops out at the end of our film processor, about 5 minutes. We use them for the same end result, but in two different ways. This one here we use positive paper, because the positive paper then gets cut up, like the jigsaw puzzles that we saw there and put together for the pages. But we also have negative film in this other one. So this image setter produces film in a negative format. And there's some color. This will be it says cyan, which is blue. So there is a cyan picture. Maybe here's one you can recognize. This is for tomorrow's home section. This is the center spread, and this is the black printer. You see it says Friday, May the 7th.
So this is the black rare, and then they're married up with all the basic colors that are used in printing, magenta, yellow, and cyan. And those 4 colors then will give you every color.
These are the papers from Hamilton. They come like this in bins each day. As you know, I guess, Hamilton prints our paper now because of budget restraints and their state-of-art equipment. They're printing our paper for us. We can fit 4 trucks in here at a time. They come in here, papers come down the chute here, and they're thrown onto the backs of the trucks, taken out to the city, out to the drop-offs. Usually we try to combine a drop-off. Usually we try to have 3 or 4 or 5 carriers picking the papers up at one spot. The driver has a certain amount of time to get the papers out there so we can get the paper to the customer as soon as possible. So he picks up here, and probably within 2 hours, every paper he takes, or within an hour and a half, every paper he takes from here is sitting at the drop-off. And then from there, of course, our newspaper carriers take them to the customers' houses, and that completes
About doing that work for all our citizens